I'm lending you a squadron of attack fighters from my elite guard. I want you to destroy the Mammoth prototype GDI has constructed. They're praying it's their salvation. Remind them whose side the gods are on.
We must destroy GDI's new weapon. They will, of course, build more in the future, but it will buy us valuable time. We know GDI is testing the Mammoth somewhere in this sector. Use a chameleon spy to infiltrate a GDI comm center and locate the test site. Your fighter prototype should be all you need to obliterate the nuisance.
Yes.
Stealth is key.
Welcome back, Commander. As Cabal helpfully points out, stealth is key. We basically have to infiltrate a building and see what exactly this whole Mammoth Mk.II is all about. Now, obviously, for Thread followers, we already know what the Mammoth Mk.II is, and that being a hilariously overpriced, over-engineered, and effective downgrade to the Mammoth Mk.I.
Yes. Moving.
But, I mean, this wouldn't be a game about militaries if it didn't include, you know, bureaucracy in that way.
Moving. Over here.
I have to admit, I wasn't expecting the chameleon spy to be affected by Tiberium, but nice touch, I guess, to, you know, also include the fact that him getting damaged removes his cloak. It's something you should keep in mind if you happen to play this level, just in case.
Over here. Over here. Shh. Shh. Over here. Moving.
That poor person.
Excellent.
Sadly, the chameleon spy has no weapons, and even if they did, I don't think they'd have the range to shoot at that civilian. I have to imagine that's some sort of subtle reference to something. But maybe I'm just seeing things or imagining things. If you happen to know,
Moving.
why not leave a comment?
Comm center.
Smash that like button,
Location
or
detected.
whatever people claim or whatever. I mean, I'll be honest. The first time I ever watched this, when I was playing the non-campaign, and I didn't really know anything about the Mammoth Mk.II, it was pretty cool. But playing with it is an entirely different matter.
Arrived.
Unit reporting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, the guide technically points to the closer locations to settle down in. I've played this mission a bunch of times, and I know there's at least some flat area around here. Really, one of the tough parts of missions like these, where you have to try to find yourself a good location, is really being able to find a really good Tiberium field to, you know, set up your base next to. Considering you don't have that much information, and, well, it's already been pointed out, at least for I don't know how long it'll be when this video goes up, but there was talk about how the attack bike doesn't really have a very large line of sight, and they're entirely correct. That's a major problem with a lot of units in this game, not having very good sight lines, and so it just makes it really tough to sort of check anything before you settle down anywhere. Also, this is pretty rough, and I'm not entirely sure if it may be because I got line of sight on the GDI base, because sometimes that'll happen. You sort of activate a trigger, or a defense trigger, because you just got too close at some point. Would probably make a little bit more sense if I, had more units to defend rather than out randomly on the map destroying civilian huts. But, make do.
Building.
Awaiting orders. You got it, sir. Awaiting orders.
There's also a couple other interesting bits with regards to this mission in particular. The chameleon spy can kind of go anywhere, in the sense that you're not limited to anything. If you go past a certain point, you don't trigger like an auto fail or anything like that. Obviously, you don't want to lose the chameleon spy, but you can effectively scout this entire map before you ever go into one of those huts and trigger the demonstration for the Mammoth Mk.II. So, if you have a lot of time to kill, sure, you could see exactly where you'd want to set up your base first. Another interesting tidbit is that this mission relies on discovering the demonstration and then doing something in order to destroy the Mammoth Mk.II. However, we all know, at least from experience, that things like the Ghost Stalker, the Mammoth Mk.II, and even the Cyborg Commando are things that you should only ever have one of.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir.
And this is basically because, well, they're unique units. They're the super units. The AI is not beholden to that same limitation in this mission. And I can't tell if it's because it has no limit attributed to itself, or if one of the Mammoth tanks just isn't registered as being either owned by them. Which I guess technically could be true if this mission has two separate GDI teams, we'll call them, and they just happen to be the same color and working together.
Yes, sir.
It's not
Cannon ready.
technically impossible, but sadly there's no real way to confirm other than if you start digging through all of the scenario's properties. And,
Awaiting orders.
well, I don't have that much experience with delving into there. If it's written somewhere right at the top, I should be able to find it. Otherwise, further down, it might just be hidden somewhere. All that to say that, yeah, you will find multiple Mammoth Mk.IIs.
Cannot deploy here. Building.
Loud and clear. Yes, sir. Infantry report. Infantry report.
Another thing about this mission is that you do, or at least we do see that there are several different GDI upgrade centers lying around. And they're necessary. Excuse me. And they're necessary for the mission with the chameleon spy having to infiltrate them and so on. What's important to note is that they don't provide anything, sadly. It would have been interesting if you could, say, capture it and maybe get the ion cannon or something else.
Training. On hold.
Then again, there may also be an issue where, because I captured it and not any other GDI supporting structure, there may be something missing there that I just didn't think about. I don't think it's the case, but
Unit lost.
if you want to try it out, be my guest.
Building. Building offline. Construction complete. Building. Construction complete.
Now, you remember how sandbags used to be like
Online.
super great and amazing and,
reporting. Loud and clear.
you know, such a minor defensive structure was just so good? Yeah, the laser fence kind of takes that property as well.
Loud and clear.
You'd never think about it, but
Building online.
the laser fence is just too good. If you know where the AI is coming from, they rarely ever target the actual laser defense posts. So you can just do silly stuff where, yeah, you can take out the best unit in the game as it slowly trundles, because nothing ever really targets a laser fence post. And
Building online.
in half a second, you've killed the biggest, worst unit. Well, I shouldn't say worst, but the most strongest and powerful and expensive unit in the game is reduced to 3 flying fragments that may potentially damage some of your units in the vicinity.
Training.
I'd devote more to destroying that observation post, but I'll be honest, I was kind of wondering how long that would last.
No problem. Unit reporting.
The fact that GDI was also repairing it just makes it funny to me that it's wasting all these resources on it.
Building. Unit ready. Structure sold. Building offline.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you ever happen to build your own laser posts, it's always a good idea to try and reduce the number of posts you have,
No problem, sir.
especially when doing this trip. It's just easier to micromanage.
Unit ready.
Engineering, no problem.
Building. On hold.
If it's not 100% obvious as to what I'm doing, look, I've got subterranean APCs, I've got money for engineers, my Tiberium field is running low,
Construction complete.
might as well.
Unit reporting.
Select target.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Basically, this guy on the west, I'm just kind of doing stuff with him to see if I can find maybe like some cash on the ground or, I don't know, some Easter egg.
Building online.
Alright, I had to do that at least once. I hope that man's horrific screams haunt you. It's Halloween today, actually, so it fits. So this is kind of what I mean by the game having 2 GDI teams. Normally, if you attack a base, especially for having such a large unit that's readily available, can easily kill a bunch of stuff, you kind of expect that Mammoth tank to move out and just like destroy everything I have, but he's not doing anything. I mean, sure, he destroyed that war factory, but that's only because it's in the vicinity. He can reach it. So I think it's a matter of that Mammoth tank, the Mammoth Mk.II, just not being in the same team as everyone else. Now, we are told in the briefing that we have access to Nod's newest attack fighter, and that's the Banshee. I don't typically use Nod aircraft, and the same reason why I don't use Harpies, and also because I'm kind of just forget about them sometimes. it's not even that the Banshee isn't effective or anything. It's more of just having a unit that flies across the map, takes a bunch of damage from anti-aircraft attacks, and then you kind of have to send them somewhere else to repair. Nod doesn't have a repairs facility, so you have those problems. Now, you can use a mobile repair vehicle to repair an aircraft, but to do so, you have to take the aircraft off of the helipad and land it on the ground, which means that you can't repair and also have them rearmed. So it just takes that much longer if they ever take damage, and it's just...
Unit lost.
I don't know what to say other than not really a fan of the downtime involved.
Harvester under attack. Unit lost.
Oh, and if it's not immediately clear, the EMP charge does affect the AA defenses, which I kind of wish there was something to indicate that.
Secondary objective achieved. Harvester under attack.